She was only 14, alive, breathing, innocent. And yet she was forced into a marriage with someone already dead. In today's story, we explore a dark tradition that still haunts parts of the world. Ghost marriage. This is not fiction. This is not a horror tale. This happened. A young girl was given away as a bride to a corpse, trapped in a ritual she could never understand for reasons rooted in superstition, debt, and centuries-old customs. But why would a family allow this? And what does this say about the society that still permits it? In this video, we uncover the hidden world of ghost marriages, from its ancient origins to real, modern-day tragedies. Stay with us as we reveal the cultural beliefs, chilling rituals, and heartbreaking human cost behind this practice or watching history screen. Subscribe now, and let's begin. Ghost marriage is a tradition where one or both people in the marriage are no longer alive. In some cases, it's a living person who is married to a dead one. In others, both the bride and groom are already deceased. While it may sound shocking today, this practice has deep roots in ancient cultures. The earliest known ghost marriages go back to ancient China during the Han Dynasty, more than 2,000 years ago. In that time, people believed that the souls of the dead still needed the same things as the living. A person who died unmarried was considered incomplete even in the afterlife. Families feared that unmarried spirits could become restless, unhappy, or even dangerous. To solve this, families arranged ghost marriages. These weddings were often held just like regular ones, with a ceremony, offerings, and even a banquet. Instead of a living couple, though, spirit tablets or symbolic items stood in for the bride and groom. Ghost marriages were not limited to China. In South Sudan, for example, some tribes still allow women to marry a dead man to carry on his family line. In France, posthumous marriages have been legally allowed in special cases, such as when a fiancé dies before the wedding. In Chinese culture, ghost marriage also served other purposes. Sometimes it was used to join two families together, or to continue a family name if a son had died without heirs. It followed the values of Confucianism, which taught people to respect family ancestors and tradition above all. The goal was simple: keep the spirit world at peace and the family name alive. But over time, this ritual took darker turns, especially when the living became part of it against their will. In 2014, a 16-year-old girl in Shandong was tragically killed in a ghost marriage ritual. Her body was exhumed and later exchanged for 66000 yuan, more than $10,000, by brokers who sold her remains to a family seeking a corpse bride for their deceased son. The shocking case drew police attention and legal investigation, exposing a brutal underground economy rooted in superstition and profit. This was not an isolated incident. Grave raiding rings operate in rural regions of Shandong, Shaanxi, Henan, Hebei, and Shanxi, targeting fresh female corpses to meet demand. Local smugglers described the trade in chilling terms: a body buried for years is worthless, but one buried just months ago can fetch up to 38,000 yuan. Middlemen, brokers, and even hospital staff sometimes collude, creating a full chain from corpse to coffin. By 2015, police in Shandong had arrested 11 people connected to exhuming and selling bodies as ghost brides. Further arrests followed across provinces. In one harrowing case, a man from Hebei confessed to strangling 6 women to sell their bodies as brides, opting for murder rather than grave robbing. In another province, a mentally disabled woman was nearly buried alive after being sold for ghost marriage, but she awoke in her coffin and screamed for help, saving herself. Meanwhile, the Chinese government has no specific bans on ghost marriages. Although corpse theft is illegal, those convicted often receive around 3 years of imprisonment. Authorities have started installing CCTV and concrete coffins in graveyards to curb the trade. But this cruel market is not unique to China. Around the world, minor girls are forcibly married, often as part of debt settlements or cultural pressures. In South Sudan, a 14-year-old was reportedly sold in a traditional ceremony that involved cattle and cash exchanges. In Pakistan, swara marriages still occur, where girls as young as 9 are married off to settle feuds. These stories reveal a common thread: exploitation of the vulnerable, whether living or dead. She was just 14 years old, In most parts of the world, that age still means school childhood, dreams and a future full of possibilities. But for this young girl, life had already been shaped by decisions beyond her control. Her name remains unknown to the world, but her story reflects a haunting reality. She was reportedly forced into a ghost marriage by her family, or more accurately by the people who had control over her life. In many rural areas of China, particularly in poorer provinces, such decisions are not always made out of cruelty, but out of belief. The belief that the spirits of the dead demand peace. The belief that an unmarried man in the afterlife is incomplete. And the belief that an unmarried girl, especially if she dies young, is a burden in both life and death. In the likely scenario, the girl had either died naturally or under mysterious circumstances. Her parents, or possibly her adoptive guardians, arranged for her to be married to a dead man, someone who had died unmarried, often at a young age. In some cases, families keep the bodies of unmarried men, waiting until a suitable corpse bride can be found. The transaction would have involved money. In many ghost marriages, there is a bride price just like in traditional marriages. The average payment ranges from 20,000 to 7,000 yuan, depending on the condition of the body and the family's financial status. These arrangements are handled by brokers who specialize in ghost weddings. Some are former funeral workers, others are part of secret networks dealing in corpses. The family of the deceased man pays the fee, while the girl's family gains money or clears a debt. Cultural pressure plays a heavy role in this decision. In traditional Chinese belief, if a man dies unmarried, his soul might remain lonely or restless. It could haunt the family or bring misfortune. Marrying him to a spirit bride is seen as a way to calm the spirit, complete the social order, and show filial piety, respect for ancestors. In the same way, an unmarried dead woman may be seen as cursed or shameful. By marrying her posthumously, the family believes they're giving her honor even in death. In many reported cases, the girl is dressed in a red wedding gown, the color traditionally worn by brides, but also associated with vengeance in death. Her body is positioned beside the groom's, often in the same coffin or an adjacent grave's paper. Effigies, spirit tablets, and food offerings are placed as part of the ritual. The families may host a symbolic ceremony with guest food and music, just like a real wedding. These details, though difficult to hear, are not folklore. They reflect a dark blend of spiritual belief, social pressure, and economic desperation. In this world, a girl's value is tied not to her future, but to the role she can still serve even after ghost goes. Marriage is not just an odd tradition, it's built on a deep and complex belief system that spans generations. In traditional Chinese culture, ancestral spirits are not gone. They remain connected to the living. Families believe the dead must be cared for even after burial. If they are not, the spirits may become lonely, angry, or vengeful. This fear drives many of the rituals behind ghost marriages. One of the strongest motivations is the fear of a spirit haunting the family if a man dies unmarried. It's believed his soul wanders, unable to find peace. Some families claim to see visions or suffer misfortunes until a proper spiritual wedding is held. A ghost bride is thought to restore balance. The same belief applies to women, though less commonly. An unmarried woman who dies may also bring bad luck or shame, especially in rural areas. At the heart of this belief system lies Confucian patriarchy. In Confucian thought, family structure is everything. A man is expected to carry on the family name. A woman is expected to marry and serve her husband's household if either dies without fulfilling these roles. It disrupts the social order. For women, dying unmarried can be seen as a mark of disgrace, not only for themselves, but for the family left behind. Some families also turn to ghost marriage as a form of bereavement therapy. Losing a child, especially a son, is devastating. Arranging a ghost marriage allows the grieving family to believe their loved one will not be alone in the afterlife. It also lets them perform the wedding rituals they never had a chance to hold, though. Rooted in emotion and tradition, these customs can be easily manipulated, especially when money and desperation become involved. In China, the law does not directly prohibit ghost marriages. The ceremonies themselves are not considered illegal. However, corpse theft, body trafficking, and grave robbing are criminal offenses. These are the actions most often targeted by law enforcement. When ghost marriages come into the public eye, the problem is that while the rituals may be old, the methods used to fulfill them have grown darker after the high-profile case in Shandong, where a 16-year-old girl was killed and sold into a ghost. Marriage local authorities began to take notice. The incident shocked the country, leading to widespread media coverage and police investigations. In response, some regional governments issued public statements condemning the practice and promise tighter controls on funeral homes, cemeteries, and corpse handling. In a few towns, graveyards were ordered to install concrete coffins and security cameras to prevent body theft. On social media platforms like Weibo, the public reaction was swift and emotional. Many users expressed disbelief that such customs still exist in the 21st century. Others demanded stronger laws and better protections for women and girls, both living and deceased. The idea that a child could be sold into marriage even after death struck a nerve with younger generations who often reject traditional superstitions. Some government organizations and women's rights groups also stepped in. Some began campaigns to educate rural families about the risks and consequences of ghost marriages. Others pushed for clearer legislation that would make the entire practice illegal, not just the parts involving criminal acts. These efforts continue, though progress remains slow in areas where ghost marriage is still quietly accepted as part of cultural life. The practice of ghost marriage may appear ceremonial on the surface, but its impact on the victims, especially young girls, is deeply damaging. When a girl is forced into a ghost marriage, she is denied her basic right to live a full life. Whether she is alive at the time or already deceased, the decision to use her body as part of a ritual strips her of identity and choice. In some tragic cases, girls have been murdered or trafficked to meet the demand for corpse brides. Even those who died naturally are often taken without full consent from their families. Sometimes the people who are supposed to protect them, like parents or guardians, are the very ones who make the decision. These girls are reduced to commodities, their bodies exchanged for money or favors. Bride price in ghost marriages creates a market where human remains are treated as goods. Families who are desperate or heavily in debt may agree to sell a daughter's body in return for cash. The transaction is often seen as practical or even honorable within the tradition, but the emotional and ethical cost is enormous. For many girls, even in death, they remain under the control of others. Some are buried not in family graves, but beside strangers, men they never knew in life. Others are laid to rest in shared coffins, their bodies arranged to mirror the symbolism of marriage. These practices can leave surviving relatives feeling shame or guilt, especially when the decision was made under pressure. On a larger scale, ghost marriage reflects and reinforces gender inequality. It shows how the value of a girl can be reduced to her role in serving a male-dominated tradition. Even in death, her body is expected to serve someone else's legacy. Ghost marriage is an ancient tradition. For centuries, it was believed to bring peace to the dead and honor to the family. But when this ritual is forced on a living child or used to exploit a 14-year-old girl, it crosses a line. From custom into cruelty, what once may have been about respect for the dead has in many cases become a cover for abuse. No tradition should cost someone their life or dignity. That's why modern laws, education, and awareness are so important. Culture should never be used to excuse harm. If we want to protect vulnerable girls, we need to talk about these hidden practices. We need to expose them, question them, and stop them. If you found this story important, please like this video and subscribe to our channel History Screen. Together, we can bring quiet attention to the stories the world tries to forget.